Hi, and welcome to my new Facebook group that I'm so excited about called the Power Aid. And I wanted to go ahead and jump on so that I could give everybody an opportunity to start joining me live for my weekly midday moment. And I am so very excited about the plug-in. I came on just a little early to give everybody an opportunity to start joining, and I want to make sure that everybody's able to come on and join me for this really quick midday inspiration. Hopefully everybody will be able to find a little encouragement, a little empowerment, a little inspiration on this Wednesday, as it's the hump day, getting us from one place in the week to the last place in the week. And I know a lot of people are working. Hey, Carlencia. I know a lot of people are working, but I wanted to start this. It's new. The group is new. So I know that at the front end, the numbers aren't huge, and that's fine. This is my private group, and I'm so excited for everybody that is able to join. Hopefully it's going to grow as it starts progressing, as more people find out about the group and start joining. So you guys take a minute that's in the group to come on. Now, there's no share option, because this particular 30-minute invitation is just for the people that are a part of the Power Aid group. So I'm so very excited to have these moments with you guys in the group. One of the reasons why I wanted to start this group, the Power Aid, is, and I have on my low battery shirt today, is because all of us sometimes feel like we are running on low. All of us sometimes our batteries have gotten low. Hey, Barbara, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. And I know a lot of times we go on and we just keep going. Hey, Miss Barlow, thank you for being on. A lot of times we keep going on like we're superheroes and out there trying to be great. But every now and again, hey, Miss Juanita, we need to plug in to somebody. We need to plug into another source, something that's going to give us a little strength, something that's going to give us an ability to recharge and be restored and be renewed and be re-energized. So that is what the whole Power Aid group is about, is a bunch of us who sometimes have low batteries, a bunch of us, men and women alike, that get an opportunity to come into the group and see, get words of encouragement, get some words of empowerment, to just come together in this little group and only hear things that are positive, only hear things that are going to encourage us, inspire us, invoke us to keep going. And so again, I wore my low battery shirt because the truth of the matter is, a lot of times we feel like we are running on low. And a lot of times there's not a person that stops and says to us, hey, listen, you need to be plugged in. Come here, let me give you a little strength. Come here, let me charge you back up. A lot of times we have to be our own best energizers. We have to try to keep going. And so many people are pulling on us every single day. So many people need something from us. So many people want something from us, whether it's our families or our jobs or everybody else. They're pulling, and we're constantly giving out. We're constantly pouring out. A lot of us have issues that we struggle with. It might be health. It might be finances. It might be family. But we're constantly depleting our power. Hey, Trina. And I wanted to create a community. Hey, Miss Wright, thank you for joining. I wanted to create a community where we can come together and get a little power. I wanted to create a community where we're not having any gossip, where we're not having any pettiness, while we're not coming on and hearing about all the troubles of life. This is a group, the Power Aid, where we come tap in to get a little power. And so today we're tapping in for just a few moments to get a little power. I call my Wednesdays, and I just started it today, exclusively just for this group, the plug-in. And like I said, my low battery shirt says a lot of times we're running on fumes out there trying to be great every now and again. And you guys know how it is. We live off of our cell phones, and every now and again we got to pull over. We got to find some place that we stop and say, excuse me, ma'am, do you have an outlet? Because I need to plug my phone in. It needs to be recharged. It needs to be re-energized. It needs to be renewed. And that's what the plug-in is about. So it's not long, it's very brief. So let me get right into it. Those of you all that are working and watching the replay in this group later, welcome. I hope you guys enjoy it. Today we are talking about what's that smell? This is what we're talking about today. What's that smell? Now, you all know that I like to do my research and I like to bring things to reality to show you the practicality in it. Well, smell is a very, very, hey, Katura, smell is very important in our lives. Our sense of smell is so vital. And a lot of times, because we're just so used to having it, we really don't realize how important it is until we lose it, until our allergies start acting up, until we get a cold and we can't breathe. We really don't understand the impact that our smell has on our bodies. So I did a little research and I wanted to talk today about what's that smell. Number one, smell is important to animals, to humans. Smell is very important. Smell has some important vital roles, and I'm going to show you in the natural what smell does for us, and then I'm going to show you why that's important psychologically, emotionally, and mentally to us, why our smell is important. The first thing that smell does is smell alerts us to danger. Smell lets us know if there's a gas leak. Smell will alert us to let us know, hey, there's a fire somewhere. Smell will let us know that, hey, wait a minute, that milk is spoiled. That food is rotten. Smell alerts us to danger. Why is smell important in our lives? Why do we have to make sure we have our mental, spiritual, and emotional noses open? Because if we ever get to a place where we're stopped up and congested, we won't be able to recognize danger. We won't be able to recognize not only other people, but us. Some of us walk around and we have spoiled on the inside. Some of us walk around and things in our lives have caused us to got rotten. Some of us have decayed. Certain areas in our lives have decayed. Some things in our lives are on fire. When your sense of smell is impaired, you won't be able to recognize, whoa, wait a minute. I smell like something is burning. Something has burnt up in my life. So when our sense of smell is affected, we cannot be alerted about the danger that's going on in our own selves. And we certainly are not being able to be alerted to the danger that's around us. We need to know it's not just about seeing the smoke. It's about smelling the smoke. The smell is the trigger that lets us know, even before you get ready to drink that milk, wait a minute, that's sour. Something in it isn't right. Even when we're dealing with other people, something, our sense of smell has to alert us. Wait a minute, she's sour. Wait a minute, he's a little bitter. Something isn't right. Smell alerts us to danger. Number two, smell is linked to the parts of our brain that promotes and processes emotion and memory. Smell is linked to our emotions and memory. Have you ever whiffed something, whiffed somebody's cologne, had a whiff of the beach, or had a whiff of something that you were passing by, and all of a sudden that smell reminded you of something that you used to do in your childhood? Maybe that smell reminded you of grandmama's house. Maybe that smell reminded you of that man. Hey, Evelyn. Maybe that smell reminded you of a relationship. Smell is linked to the parts of our brains that activates our emotion and our memory. We're talking about what's that smell? Why is smell important? Hey, Derek, because smell links us to our memories. A lot of times when we lose our sense of smell, we won't remember, wait a minute, that's a cheater. We won't remember, oh, wait a minute, that smell like that lie. That's rotten. That man is rotten. That woman is sour. Smell links us to memory and our emotions, and it causes us to be reminded if something was good, if something was pure, if something was healthy, or if something was detrimental to us. We're talking about what's that smell. The next thing, smell is vital because it enables us to track food and water. You ever been somewhere and you can say, wait a minute, somebody's back there cooking. Somebody's in the kitchen cooking. Wait, it wakes you up. Smell alerts us and tells us, wait a minute, I can find food by my smell. I can even track water by my smell. Why is that important? We need food and water to live. It sustains us. It plenishes us. It replenishes us. It gives us energy. Food and water. Those are the things that we need to survive. What am I trying to say? When we have a sense of smell, we are able to identify who can provide nutrients to us, who can sustain us in our lives, who, if we start feeling dehydrated, who can give us what we need to sustain to be better. A lot of us end up with the wrong people people, a lot of us end up in the wrong situations. A lot of us end up in the wrong circumstances because we haven't activated our sense of smell. We're talking about today at the plug-in, because all of us sometimes have low batteries. And today on Wednesdays, we plug in so that we can get rejuvenated. What's that smell? I'm talking about why smell is important. Number one, I said that it alerts us to danger. Lets us know when something is a gas leak or a fire or rotten food or spoiled milk. Secondly, smell is linked to the parts of our bodies and our brains that processes emotions and our memories. Thirdly, it helps us track food and water, which is essential to our life. The next thing that smell does, it helps us to find a mate. Oh yeah, see, we didn't expect that one. Smell helps us to find a mate, a partner. Why? Because it's linked to emotions. When we are around somebody that we are attracted to, when we are around somebody that arouses some things on the inside of us, can I tell you something? There's a smell that comes out. If we get excited, if we start feeling love towards them, if something about them, we say, oh, he made me feel some kind of way. Oh, she helped made me feel some kind of way. Listen, there is something in our body chemistry. Why do you think they call it chemistry? They call it body chemistry because our smell helps us to attract a mate. It helps us to identify whether or not a person is emitting emotions out of our body that's either good or bad. At the same way that it helps us find a mate, it also helps us signify when somebody is not a good partner for us. If they come around us and our body senses fear or our body senses danger, do you know that there's something in your body that starts to shift and you start giving out a scent? Maybe you start sweating, maybe your heart starts palpitating, and there is a scent that your body gives off. Just the same, there is a scent that a predator gives off. Y'all know I say this in my Mic Drop Mondays all the time. You have to check yourself and say, what do I smell like? Because smell helps us attract mates, we have to stop and do self-inventory and ask ourselves, what do I smell like? Because if smell helps us attract a mate, that means we're attracting whatever scent we're sending out. So you have to say, wait a minute, am I putting out a smell of neediness? Am I putting out a smell of weakness? Am I putting out a smell of blood? Hey, Sherry, am I putting out a smell of danger? Am I putting out a scent of unforgiveness? Am I putting out a scent of vulnerability? Because you attract what scent you put out. So if you're wondering, well, why am I always attracting people that's manipulating me? Well, could it be that the scent that you're putting out is vulnerability? Why am I always attracting wolves and dogs? Could it be that there's a fresh blood scent on you? You just got out of a bad relationship. You're still bleeding from some hurt that was on the inside of you. You attract whatever scent you put out. And so if you ever wonder, well, why do I find myself with this same kind of man? Why do I find myself attracting this same kind of woman? Well, what's that smell? What scent is permeating from your body? I told you, scent helps us do a couple of things. It helps us alert us to danger. It tells us when something is rotten, when there's something on fire, when there's a gas leak. Scent is linked to emotions. We smell something and we get a memory. We smell something and certain emotions comes up. Scent is a necessity because it helps us track food and water. It helps show us what's healthy for me, what's good for me to intake, what's good to put in my body to help me replenish myself. And scent helps us find a mate, and it helps a mate find us. It helps us. It says, wait a minute, there's a trigger. Why is this man being so aggressive with me? Could it be that I'm putting out a sense of fear? My smell is saying I'm scary. Why are those people at work always being so intimidating towards me? Why are they always so aggressive towards me? Could it be that you are permeating fear? And so you have to identify what's that smell, because you attract what you smell like. You want people to leave you alone? Well, listen, somewhere on the inside of you, you got to trigger some strength so that the strength can elude out of your scent. You got to trigger some self-confidence so that that self-confidence can elude out of your smell. You got to get some security in who you are. You got to get some foundation in who you are so that when people come around you, they say, wait a minute, I can't come at her any kind of way. Hold on, I can't approach him any kind of way because I smell something on him. I smell something on them. They don't smell weak. They don't smell petty. They don't smell like they're secondhand garbage. They smell like somebody. What's that smell? That's what we're talking about in the plug-in on today. Now, here's the other thing about smell. Smell affects taste buds. Do you know that 80% of what we taste comes from what we smell? If it was mic drop Monday, I'd tell y'all I'm dropping the mic today. 80% of what we taste comes from what we smell. Why do you think it is that when you have a cold or when you're suffering and your nose is stopped up, you can't eat, you can't taste your food, you just eat whatever, you just drink whatever. You have no idea if what you're consuming is good or bad. What am I trying to say? 80% of what we taste is affected by our smell. If we don't pay attention to what something smells like, we'll ingest it anyway. Man, listen, I'm talking better than y'all putting these emojis up. If you don't stop and say, wait a minute, I don't care what that looks like. It looks good to the eye. Oh yeah, and it looks just like it's what I want. Hey, but wait a minute. Even before I ingest it, before I put this thing in my emotions, before I let this thing into my heart, before I allow this thing into my life, before I allow this thing around my family, before I allow this thing into my private thoughts, before I allow this thing into my purpose, before I allow this thing into my destiny, what does it smell like? Thank you, Elisa. Thank you. I appreciate you for being on here. You have to figure out, because I'm telling you, what you smell affects what it tastes like. Now, on the opposite end of that, can I tell you something else? Because y'all know I'm real, I'm raw, and I'm relevant. If you have allowed your sense of smell to get thrown off because you've been so used to being beside trash, because you spent so much of your time around things that smelled negative and things that smell awful and things that didn't smell any good, sometimes even things that are good for you will start to taste bad because your nose and your sense of smell is thrown off. I'm trying to help us today. Sometimes you can be trying to ingest something that is good and you're wondering why you're ingesting it. Could it be that somewhere along the line your sense of smell has gotten messed up? Now you think everybody smells musty. Now you think everybody smells sour. Now everybody smells like a dirty dish rag. Why? Because you spent time in the wrong environment so long that it has tainted your perception. It has skewed your sense of smell. All of a sudden now, when you smell something that smells like the betrayal that you experienced 10 years ago, this isn't even the same scent. But because that scent is so, and you have it in your emotions, I just told you guys that scent is connected to emotions. That's a trigger. That's right, Couture. It taints your sense of smell. All of a sudden, everybody's sour. All of a sudden, I don't like to go there because everybody smells some kind of way. You have to check and say, wait a minute, before I start making judgment calls, let me make sure this nose is cleared up. Let me make sure I don't need to put some nasal spray up in this bad boy. Let me make sure I don't need to sniff something real quick to open myself back up, because right now, everything smells sour. Everything smells off. You have to say to yourself, what is that smell? Now let me tell you something that research says about smell. Smell weakens with age. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying today? Smell weakens with age. What am I saying? The older you get, the more mature you get, you would think, well, honey, my sense of smell has become A1. No, let me explain something to you. The older you get, your smell becomes a little bit more diminished. That means you have to stop and take even more inventory about what's coming up on you. You have to learn how to use even more discernment about the environments that you're in, because you can't automatically just trust your first judgment. Oh, that looks good. I think I'll get that. I think that's, wait a minute. Stop. Because with age, smell all of a sudden starts weakening little by little. Smell weakens with age. So you have to say to yourself, wait a minute. I need to do a little bit more investigating. I don't need to just jump right at that because it smelled good at the first whiff. Wait a minute. Have you ever smelled something and it smelled okay, but it had a little bit of tinge to it? There was just a little undertone to it. You have to say, wait a minute, I need to get a little closer. that was just a whiff. Let me not trust that first whiff and say, oh, that's good. No, you know how we do, ladies, at the beauty store or at the store when we're at the counter, when we're buying perfume. They'll tell you in a minute, don't just spray the scent in the air if you're going to wear it on your body. You need to see when you put it on your skin, walk around a little bit, wait to see what it does to your body chemistry. I hope I'm helping somebody. You have to have you ever, because I've done this before, I've smelled perfume right out of the bottle and said, oh, that smells good. And a friend of mine said, no, ma'am, you better take it and put a little bit on your wrist, walk around a little bit and come back. And then I would smell it a few minutes later and say, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work with me. That goes against my body chemistry. What am I saying today? Sometimes you don't need to just take a whiff of people. You don't need to just take a whiff of stuff and say, you know what? Let me go ahead and put that on me. Let me go ahead and put them in my circle. Let me go ahead and attach myself to that. No, you better just take a little dab. Take them a little dab at a time. Allow them to prove themselves. Allow them to show that they're trustworthy. See if they work with your body chemistry. A lot of times, if we would take inventory of the smell up front, if we would do just a little bit more research on the front end, we wouldn't end up smelling tainted. We wouldn't end up with sour relationships. We wouldn't end up with these things in our lives that smell rotten. This is what happens. Now, I am going to talk about really quick what happens when you lose your sense of smell. It's called anosmia. When you lose your sense of smell, there are a couple of things that people with anosmia say. They say that when you lose your sense of smell, you feel cut off from the world. You feel alienated. You feel like your emotions become blunted. You don't care whether it's this or that. Your emotions become blunted. Just like when your nose is stopped up and you're eating. Oh, I don't care what I eat. I can't smell it anyway. Hey, welcome. So what happens when you lose your sense of smell? Your emotions become blunted. You feel cut off from the world. It affects your ability to form and maintain close relationships because you're not sure about what people smell like when they come up on you. It leads to depression. We're talking about what happens when you lose your sense of smell, and it affects your memory. What am I saying? I just told you at the beginning that smell is important to our lives because it alerts us to danger, because it's linked to our emotions and our memories, because it helps us find food and water, resources that are vital to us to live, because it helps us find a mate, somebody that we could potentially link our lives to, and it affects what we taste. So when you lose your sense of smell, hear me people, in the natural, in the spiritual, in the emotional, in the psychological, when you lose your ability to smell, you are losing your ability to connect. You're losing your ability to discern. You're losing your ability to differentiate from that which is good and healthy and nutritious to that which is sour and devastating and detrimental to yourself. It affects the way you remember things. All of a sudden you're saying, I think they're okay. I remember a time. Listen, when you lose your sense of smell, when you forget what they smell like, all of a sudden those memories become unclear. You're really not sure what kind of thing happened in that relationship. So you can't afford to lose your sense of smell. As I'm closing, I said, this is what's that smell. I'm closing to say, well then, if it's important that I keep my sense of smell, if my sense of smell does all of those things, if I realize that my sense of smell starts to fade with age, is there something I can do to make sure that I strengthen my sense of smell? Well, the answer is absolutely. There are a couple of things in my closing that you can do to make sure that you strengthen your sense of smell. Number one, they say that if you want to smell correctly, you need to be able to see correctly. Oh man, this is good. Listen, the researchers gave an example of this. They said if you ever want to get the true taste out of fish, make sure that you prepare the fish to look like fish. Don't put the fish together and make it look like it's another kind of meat, because what will happen is your sense of smell is getting confused by your sense of sight. Oh man, what am I saying? What I'm saying is, if it looks like a dog, if it barks like a dog, recognize that it's a dog so that when you smell it, you won't think you smelling a cat or a fish. or an alligator. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? You have to look at things clearly. A lot of times we don't exercise our sense of smell because we let ourselves get fooled by our eyes. Oh man, they dressed up good. Oh man, she got their hair laid just right. Oh man, that group looks like they're connected to something big. You better allow your eyes and your sense of discernment to see things for what it really is. You better look past that glossy exterior. You better look past those smooth words, and you better use and activate your sense of smell. See it for what it really is so that you can smell it for what it really is. I hope I'm helping you guys see clearly. The second thing that you need to do, they say, to protect your sense of smell is to buckle up. They say that the majority of loss of smell comes from people that have been in car accidents. Even if it was a little fender bender, when you are in a car accident, because of the way that your body is jolted, researchers say that you automatically start losing a sense of your smell. That's one of the biggest things, and nobody talks about this, but that's one of the biggest things that's affected in your body when you are in a car accident. So what they say is, if you want to protect your sense of smell, buckle up. What are you saying? What I am saying is this: a lot of us are too free with ourselves. We're too free with our bodies. We're too free with our access. We're too free with our time. We're too free with our attention. Listen, buckle up, because some people, baby, will take you for a ride and get you in a wreck. I hope I'm helping. People will take you for a ride and get you in a wreck. And researchers, I just told you, said that the number one way to lose your sense of smell is to get in an accident. A lot of us don't even realize that our smell is diminished because we've been in too many accidents. Oh yeah, people got us in an accident and messed up our heart. People got us in an accident and messed up our ability to see. People got us in an accident and messed up our ability to love. People got us in an accident and messed up our ability to have self-confidence. You have to learn how to buckle up. Stop getting in relationships recklessly. Stop associating yourself with people recklessly, because if you're in a car with somebody that's driving too fast, that's not obeying traffic signals, that's going full speed, you have the propensity to lose your sense of smell. I hope I'm helping you guys. So how do you protect your sense of smell? Number one, you look at things for what they are. Number two, you buckle up. Number three, researchers say if you want to preserve your sense of smell, get out the house. Go for a walk. Go for a jog. A jog. Go outside. What am I saying? A lot of times we lose and diminish our sense of smell because we won't stop doing the same thing. We won't stop staying in the same environment. We won't stop keeping the same routine. We stay stuck up under the same people. We stay stuck up in the same room. We won't get out of our comfort zone. We won't go past what we're comfortable with. We won't go outside of what's familiar to us. And we wonder why we're not able to smell anything new. We wonder why we're not able to experience something new. It's because we're diminishing our ability to smell. So researchers say, get your behind out your house and walk. Get out there in the air and let some airness and some freshness open you up. A lot of you all are in the same situations, are dealing with depression, are dealing with feeling like you're at a dead end because you won't get yourself outside of your comfort zone and do something new. Stop going to work the same way, taking the same route. Go a different route. Stop just going to that one grocery store, but they had the best meat. How would you know? When's the last time you went somewhere else? Get out of the same routine so that you can experience something new, so that you can see something you've never saw, so that you have the ability to meet people that you otherwise would not have ever gotten in contact with. We're talking about what's that smell. The next thing that they tell you to do in order to preserve your smell is to drink plenty of water. Hydrate yourself. Hydrate yourself. Did you know that drinking water and dehydration is linked to your sense of smell? When you are dehydrated, you don't have the ability to smell correctly. What am I saying? I told you guys that I have on my low battery shirt. I call my Wednesdays the plug-in, and it's plugging in because a lot of us walk around dehydrated. A lot of us walk around depleted. Don't you know that when you're dehydrated, just by not drinking enough water, you'll have stomach cramps. You'll start start having headaches. Your eyes will start hurting. Your bones will start aching. All because you are not drinking enough water. What am I trying to say? If you want to go back and reignite your sense of smell, your ability to discern the people and the things that are around you, to be able to tell if that sin is something good or not, hydrate yourself. Stop allowing yourself to get depleted mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically. Hydrate yourself. Go somewhere and say, not today, baby. I got to get replenished. Not today, sir. I've got to replenish myself. Not today. Not this week. I won't be able to serve on that team. I won't be able to be on that committee. I won't be able to show up tonight. I won't be able to do that for you because I got to have a moment to get replenished, to get rehydrated. Last but not least, how do you strengthen your sense of smell? Well, they say that if you want your sense of smell to become invigorated, to open up, they say only eat when you're hungry. Bet y'all didn't see that one coming. Only eat when you're hungry because your nose is at its highest peak only when you're at your hungriest. What happens is sometimes we just eat snacks just because there's an urge. Let me just eat this little snack. Let me just drink this. I'm not even thirsty. I'm not even hungry. I'm just going to eat it because I want it. A lot of times we lose our sense of smell, our ability to discern because we're taking things in and we don't even need it. We're taking things in and we don't even want it. You don't even want that man. You don't even like that girl. You don't even fool with those people. But just because they're accessible, just because they're available, a lot of times we open ourselves up. We put people in our environment. We put people in our circle. We allow people access to us and we don't even need that. We don't even benefit from it. We don't even have, there's nothing in us that triggers us to put that on us, to take on that extra responsibility, to take on that extra burden, to take on that extra weight. Well, researchers say don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop taking things that don't benefit you. Stop allowing people to put stuff on you and dump things on you when it's past your capacity. I hope I'm helping, because if you only eat when you're hungry, then your sense of smell becomes more keen and it becomes more aware. Listen, that's my time. I promised that I was going to go from 12:15 to 12:45. I'm Elisa LaShell, the Empowerment Specialist. This is my new Facebook group called The Power Aid. If you know some people that you want to invite to join this group, invite them, send them a request, and I will allow them into this group. Thank you for joining me for the plug in. Thank you guys for coming and plugging in with me every single Wednesday from 12:15 to 12:45. We will be plugging in. Thank you guys. Have a great end to the rest of your week. See you guys next time.